It's Saturday evening. It's time to talk about the very best comic books in the entire world this week with our good friend Drew, soon to be at New York Comic Con. How you doing, Drew?
I'm doing fantastic, Wes. Yeah, I cannot wait for New York Comic Con this week. Can't wait to be selling out of stuff left and right. But before I do that, let's talk about the very best comics of the week.
Absolutely. We got to start out with Absolute Batman #1. Scott Snyder writing, Nick Dragotta on art. It's the comic book everybody in the entire world is talking about, a new age of Batman. Obviously part of the Absolute Universe itself, the big first salvo of DC all in, seeing if this can be a new flagship type of book. And for the most part, I think this book succeeds almost across the board with some kind of serious, but sometimes not so serious issues with it. The Nick Dragotta art itself just slaps so hard, it like slaps your mama and leaves a mark on you. It's that good. I think he absolutely nailed it, even with some of the more ridiculous elements that Scott Snyder was putting in here. And I do think the art doesn't save the book, but it certainly elevates it to another stratosphere, to a highly recommend type of comic book. This is a new version of Batman, but we also get tons and tons of cameos and Easter eggs. And I think if people are looking for a dawn of a new age of Batman, I think for the most part, they're going to be pleased.
I think so too, hopefully. But okay, I want to be clear when I say this. I think it's a fine comic book. I wouldn't say it's great. I wouldn't say it's bad. I would say it's fine. It's a good Elseworlds story for a Batman, because I don't see this as a mainstream Batman to me. But yeah, the action, the art in this is fine, but do not go into this thinking about it. If you're thinking about this critically, about some of the stuff that's happening, the coincidences, the sheer brutality he's inflicting a lot of these people with the battle axe, it's going to take you out of the book. Don't think about it. Just go with it, and you'll probably enjoy it more. But with that being said, it's still, I think, a fine comic book. You could have done a heck of a lot worse.
It is a very hyper-violent Batman, and there are a couple of moments where you're like, what is this character even talking about when, like, Alfred says, "You're no killer" to this Batman? You're like, I don't know, dude. It looks like you just witnessed him kill at least 25 people that were no longer combatants because they were exiting the battle space, which seemed a little bit weird. Also, the time constraints that Scott Snyder tries to put so many types of experiences on Bruce Wayne don't really make sense if you think about it. I know what you're talking about there, where like, yes, he went to college on a football scholarship. So, he graduated college like everybody else, but then he also had like 9 different careers in a 4-year time span, as if people would keep hiring him over and over again to do different things, around the city if he wasn't reliable.
Bullseye. It doesn't make sense when you think about it critically. But honestly, and this is the Batman, I quote unquote Batman, I don't see as someone who would have traveled the world learning the strangest and darkest forms of martial arts here. This is the guy I would have seen learning karate at the local Y, or learning Taibo, in night classes and fighting. But yeah, like I said, just don't put your thinking cap on. Just enjoy it, because a lot of it does not make sense logically. And I'm hoping that's what Scott Snyder is going for, because I think that could have been his approach. Let's just have fun with this. And if you go in just having fun with it, not thinking about it, you'll enjoy it more.
Absolutely. I think that's a pretty big win, because DC haven't been great as of late, but they did have a great week this week, because we got a couple more DC comic books we're going to talk about later. But first, let's talk about those indie comic books. We had some winners there. Geiger #7, Jeff Johns writing, Paul Peltier on art. Obviously, we have a fill-in for Gary Frank here. And this is more of a character exploration and how Nate the Atomic Knight is feeling about Geiger and whether or not he's a hero or not. Nate, at his core, wants to believe in Geiger and what his mission is, and that's why he's following him around. But he does get kind of put to the test thinking about, is this guy good or not? But I think in the end, when push comes to shove and Geiger has to prove himself, he does the right thing.
Yeah, he does. And I do like that he really just kind of really questioning himself, questioning his belief and or faith, for lack of a better term, in him. And yeah, fortunately, yeah, it is more or less kind of rewarded for it at the end. But yeah, the action in this is pretty damn heavy, and I thoroughly enjoyed it for that. And Paul Peltier, you want to talk about an artist who's getting a lot of work now between Geiger and G.I. Joe? We're seeing a lot of this guy. But he does a great job here filling in for Gary Frank. And yeah, I couldn't be happier, because Geiger is steadily getting better, and because this is like the 3rd relaunch they've had of Geiger, and it didn't seem like they had an idea of where they wanted to go, but now it seems like they have a good idea of where we're going. And by the end of this issue, this new character that they're introducing, I like what they're bringing to us. I can't wait for the next issue. This is a solid read.
You're going to be happy when Geiger starts moving forward and gets closer to maybe some of these towns out there, because we have been kind of waiting on something to happen for about 3 or 4 issues now, but it's been more character exploration with even, the dog and stuff like that. We're also going to recommend Transformers 13, Daniel Warren Johnson writing, new artist Jason Howard on art. It does sound like Jorge Corona is going to be coming back after 3 issues, so I don't know if they're going to be swapping between Howard and Jorge Corona. This is another kind of character exploration kind of issue, which was the format of choice, at least within indie books this week, really kind of leveling down on Starscream. Last time we saw him, Soundwave basically obliterated him, looked like he might have murdered him because of what he did to, was it Ravager or whatever? Mm-hmm. And we see kind of his origin on how he became a Decepticon. He was friends with Jetfire. There's another friend. I think this is a brand new character that we've never really even seen back on Cybertron. Unfortunate things happen. By the end, we finally get the first real appearance of Megatron, wholly formed, and that was a very, very cool moment.
Yeah, this whole book was pretty cool. Yeah, and I think this gentleman doing the art, I think he's doing it for the next, the next 2 issues after this. So it's a Starscream origin miniseries, more or less, that they're doing here in the series, which is fine, which is pretty good because I enjoyed this issue, and I did love seeing how Starscream came to be. We see him as this, bright-eyed, enthusiastic, positive character, and you see how he is when he sees Omega Supreme flying in the air. Spoiler alert! Flying in the air, he gets excited and tries to get his attention. Yeah, it's great stuff. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I can't wait to see what happens next in the next issue. Kind of to see the fall from grace, more or less, of Starscream, and because this is not the same Starscream that we're familiar with. This is a very different, like I said, positive, enthusiastic Starscream. So it's like, what took him down this dark path? And I feel like we're going to be getting more of what happened on that path in the next issue. Yeah, this is a solid read.
Absolutely. You get Ook-Star himself, the original name of Starscream. Definitely also going to recommend Space Ghost number 6, David Pepos writing, Jonathan Lau on art. We had a major development in Space Ghost number 5. Jace, unfortunately, had to do something that was very, very traumatic to him. He said he didn't want to be a hero anymore. And we kind of see the fallout of that, the new status quo, where it is Space Ghost and Jan going out there, while Jace kind of stays behind and mopes, and he's writing his journal about how he's having a very difficult time overcoming this, and why he feels he's let Space Ghost out, because Space Ghost himself is also changed. And we definitely get some really, really cool moments in here to where he finally has to realize the hero was always kind of sit there inside of him. Another real character-heavy issue here, and I think another winner on Space Ghost.
Yeah, it's another winner, and the one thing we don't give enough credit to in this book is the art. Jonathan Lau, his art in this is fantastic. He draws Space Ghost like an absolute Chad, and I love it for that. And how he draws Moltar in this is beautiful. Moltar, you just really see him for the villain that he is in this. It's terrific. And yeah, and there comes a point in this where what is the young man going to do? Is he going to just stay in the back? Is he going to just let Space Ghost and his sister handle it, or is he going to step in, maybe try to be a young, recapture that heroism that he once had, that enthusiasm he once had in the prior issues. You got to read to find out. Yeah, this is a solid read. This has been a solid series. David Pepos, it's shocking. You read his Punisher run and you compare it to this, it's complete night and day. 2 different guys. And this is the David Pepos I want to hang out and party with. Read Space Ghost, guys. If you're not familiar with it, jump on this. You're going to love Space Ghost. Absolutely.
Space Ghost has been an absolute treasure since the very beginning once they relaunched it. Shocking stuff coming out of Dynamite, and the Jonathan Lau has been spectacular. Now let's go over to the big 2, because we actually had 5 big 2 comic books to talk about this week. We've still got 2 Marvel, 2 DC books to get to. I'm recommending Fantastic Four number 26, Ryan North writing, Ivan Fiorelli on art. And this is kind of a nonsense issue because it really is just like a Halloween special. And Ryan North is doing much better when he's focusing more on Johnny Storm, not him banging weird alien bugs, but just the Johnny Storm hijinks, because you don't have to write the technical, scientific-based stories. You can just write hijinks like this. And we've got Reed Richards and Johnny Storm accidentally uncovering some type of ghost burial site or something. They accidentally let all the apparitions out, and they have to find a way to close it. And the fallout of when Sue and the Thing, who's dressed up like Gandalf, and I give it a 2 thumbs up on that bad boy. He looked great as Gandalf. When they all return, they try to explain why they're covered in blood and why there's a ghost coming out of the basement, I actually kind of chuckled. I thought this was pretty well done.
So yeah, this is one of two books from Marvel we're going to be recommending that it's like it has an all ages feel. Like this Fantastic Four issue and the one we're going to recommend after this definitely has a all ages approach. Like I was expecting something a little heavier, more adult centered, but yeah, this has a very young adult vibe to it. If I had known that going into this, I would have enjoyed it a heck of a lot more. But yeah, it's fine. It's okay. It's hard for me to really get enthusiastic about this. I'm reading it. I'm like, I guess if I were a kid younger, I'd probably enjoy this. So I'll say this: if you have a teenager younger, they'll probably enjoy this issue, the standalone issue, a heck of a lot more.
Heck yeah, it's a Halloween special. I think a lot of people enjoy this. And if you can have a little bit of fun, I think you'll enjoy it as well, because I'm damn near 50. I thought it was good, but it really is a series all over the place. If you're expecting hard-hitting traditional Fantastic Four storytelling, this will not be the issue for you. Also from Marvel Zombies, Dawn of Decay #2, Thomas Krajewski writing, Jason Muir on art. I expected Marvel Zombies when I got into the very first issue, and this is decidedly not that. It's like Groot in space got a cold, accidentally sneezed in the face of Thor, and Thor turned into a plant zombie and is starting to infect the earth. It's very much a comical type book. In this issue, we have Groot trying to get a hold of Bruce Banner, getting back to Avengers headquarters so they can find a cure. But unfortunately, Bruce Banner is Hulk, and Hulk hates Groot because Groot won't stop saying, "I am Groot." There's a really funny exchange where he tries to tell him how to do a knock-knock joke, but he's so frustrated, Hulk even screws that up. And there's a great moment where Hulk gives Thor, Plant Zombie Thor, the coup de grace, and then calls him like a stupid hippie god, which I thought was absolutely great. So the interaction in Hulk being so mad at Groot definitely won me over in this one.
I will say that was my favorite line of the book when he called him a stupid hippie god. I was actually laughing when I read that. Yeah, so this is another one this week from Marvel where when you read the title, if you're familiar with Marvel Zombies, you're very familiar with, you should know, like it has a darker approach, a darker edge. Anything goes. So with that being said, go in expecting more of a young adult vibe to this type of story. And that's what this type of story is. And there's a little more humor to it. And it's not nearly as violent, but yeah, like I said, the zombieism going on in this is more or less from Groot having a cold and infected people. But yeah, it's a fun story. What happens to Thor in this is very interesting. Like I said, if they wanted to have more of an adult approach, I'm sure Thor would have been drawn more horrifically. But it's drawn just fine in this. And yeah, I do love the interactions between Banner and Groot. It's very fun. And yeah, it's a zombie story that kids could enjoy. So yeah, I would say for Halloween time, this is a very good Halloween story for kids to enjoy.
Yeah, I almost forgot about the moment when Groot finally tries to throw Thor like into the sun, and he's so happy that he finally succeeded. And Hulk's so mad, he like jumps up there and blocks it and pulls him back down to the ground because he wants to beat him up some more. So it was fun. I really enjoyed that one. From DC Comics, we still got two more books. Green Lantern Civil Corps Special #1. Jeremy Adams, Phil Kennedy Johnson writing, Salvador LaRocca on art. And this is really fusing together the Jeremy Adams Green Lantern series and the Phil Kennedy Johnson Green Lantern War Journal story. Everything is kind of coming together as we've got the crisis going on with the United Planets and Theros, and the fact that they've basically taken over the entire council and replaced everyone's ambassadors. But we've also got the remnants of the Dark Star and the Dark Star ring that's from the John story. And it's all coming together here. There are so many enormous things happening in this comic book. I don't want to spoil everything, but the weird thing that happens at the end with the Green Lantern Associated Planet, I did not see coming from a mile away. And this ended up being really good. It's my #1 comic book of the week.
Yeah, this is right up there with me too. Yeah, and like the ending of this, like you said, I saw that. I'm like, oh crap, this is not good for anybody at all. But yeah, you brought it up earlier. Yeah, if you have not read the John Stewart series by Philip Kennedy Johnson, you will be lost because once it opens up, you see him flying with an individual. I'm not gonna say who it is, and you got the Dark Star ring. It's like, whoa, what is all this? What's going on? Yeah, you got to read up on it, and you'll have a better understanding what's going on. Because a lot of it centers around that ring and the consequences of that ring getting out of his hands. And yeah, I do love the interactions in this. I love all the dialogue in this. The banner between all the Green Lanterns is fantastic. Guy Gardner, I love how he's written. It's pitch perfect. And I love the action in this. This is a fun event I can get behind. This is the type of event I want to read because it's localized to the Green Lanterns. It's not DC wide. So let's keep it here. This is This is a good event anyone can get in on. And I can't wait to what happens in the second chapter. This is a lot of fun, and it's great to know that the Green Lantern franchise itself is in good hands in the comics right now. This is where it should be.
Yeah, Jeremy Adams has been leading up to this the entire time he's been writing it, and he was the only guy that kept his story going during Absolute Power, and obviously we're getting the big payoff here. The final recommendation this week, Batman and Robin 14, Philip Kennedy Johnson writing, Javi Fernandez on art, PKJ taking over for Josh Williamson on this. This is their very first issue together. There are a couple of things that bother me. It feels like Damian has been regressed a little bit, but it does start out with some badass action. We're going with a more grounded approach of Batman and Robin, and hopefully they're going to be able to do something here that Josh Williamson never really could. He never really had a focus on that book. My favorite moment of the book itself is definitely when they go to the charity ball and Damian Wayne has to sit at the kiddie table. You know that infuriates him. And we've got some weird stuff coming back from the past of Gotham City to haunt Batman and Robin. And I believe Philip Kennedy Johnson and Javi Fernandez really nailed it on this first issue.
100%. This was my pick of the week. I thoroughly enjoyed this book from beginning to end. I actually read this twice because I couldn't believe. I read it the first time and I said, holy crap, did I just really enjoy a Batman book? And it was Batman and Robin. Then I reread it again. And yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this. And now for me, I loved how Damian is written in this. To me, this is more true to character for Damian than what we were getting from Joshua Williamson. I do love that angsty Damian. And I do love one of my favorite scenes is when he's talking to a little girl at the kiddie table. You see her get all upset. And from what he says to her, he's just like, oh, crap. But it's great. The relationship between him and Bruce, and this is great. What Damian says something about about his grandfather, and what Bruce says to him, it's like, we're going to talk about this later. Great moment. But yeah, there's a great action in this. It's very well illustrated, very kinetic. It's very true to the characters. I cannot wait to see what happens in the second chapter. This is a book that gets me excited about Batman. And it's great to see Philip Kennedy Johnson. He nailed it here. And I got to recommend this to anyone. If you're a Batman fan this week, check out Batman and Robin.
And it's nice to see that Drew is all in on DC Comics this week. He's buying the hype, and I like to see that. Now, Drew, we will not see you next week because you will not be available. You're going to be at New York Comic-Con? What the hell are you even doing there with Aaron Sparrow?
We got to sell comic books, man. We've been busy this whole year making comic books. So we got to be selling books like Silent Nights, Unholy Nightmare, Depths of Valor, and we got to be selling our combined cover of Kneel Before Doomface and Recluse from Unholy Nightmare. We have a joint cover from Juan Jose Reap. Hopefully we'll be sold out of these by Saturday. Based upon our pre-sales, it went pretty crazy. So hopefully if you're in the New York area, come out, say hi to Aaron Sparrow, myself, Murphy, Nate Watson, the whole TMC press team. You're not going to regret it. These are the best books out on the market right now.
Definitely want to say thank you very much to Drew and the entire TCM press team. Congratulations. If you're going to be in the New York area, definitely go to New York Comic Con. Go meet Drew. Go meet Aaron Sparrow. Aaron's also got some stuff for Kneel Before Doomface. Really exciting stuff. If you would like to support Think Critical YouTube, I do invite you to come visit me on the Patreon. There's a link in the video description. And you get lots of stuff kind of like this, but a lot bigger. We've got over 40 hours of brand new content, whether it be podcasts, videos, polls, all that kind of stuff going on the Patreon right now. Hope to see you there very, very soon.